You're soaking wet. Why would you be out here dressed like that? She shouted over the pounding rain, her bare feet splashing in the floodwater that had crept into her yard. The front door of her creaky wooden house stood half open, and the man in front of her looked like he'd stepped out of a boardroom and straight into a disaster movie. His expensive suit was drenched, his watch looked like it cost more than her house, and yet he looked lost. Not just lost in direction, but in life itself. She hesitated, scanning the water rising around his knees. "Do you need shelter or not?" she asked again. The man gave a slow nod, his jaw tightening as if pride was a heavier burden than the storm around them. "Just for a moment, please." Her name was Anna, a waitress scraping by on tips, living in the rundown cottage her grandmother had left behind. The flood had come fast, roads closed, power flickered, cell towers dead. But now here stood this stranger in a silk tie, soaked and shivering, as if the storm had spat him out at her doorstep for a reason no weather report could explain. As he stepped inside, tracking muddy water across the wooden floor, she handed him a towel and pointed to the couch. "Sit down before you pass out," she muttered, eyeing him suspiciously. "Thank you," he said quietly, though he still wouldn't meet her eyes. She poured hot tea into a chipped mug, slid it toward him, then crossed her arms. "So, who are you, really?" He hesitated before answering. "Call me Daniel." "Right. And what, Daniel? You get lost on your way to a hedge fund retreat?" He let out a tired smirk, the corner of his mouth twitching like he hadn't smiled in years. "Something like that." Outside, the wind roared. Inside, the silence grew thick. Hours passed. She watched him, trying to piece together the story behind his bruised pride and bloodied knuckles. Then she saw it. When he removed his jacket, there was a dark, jagged wound on his side, poorly bandaged. "You're hurt," she gasped, already reaching for the first aid kit. "It's nothing," he muttered, but his eyes said otherwise. As she knelt beside him, dabbing antiseptic on the gash, she asked again, more gently this time, "Who did this to you?" Daniel exhaled slowly. "It's complicated." The storm outside calmed, but the storm inside him raged on. Over the next few days, as the floodwaters rose higher, he stayed. She rationed beans and soup like they were gourmet meals. He slept on her couch, and at night she'd hear him whisper names in his sleep, names she didn't recognize, until he finally broke. "My father owns Caldwell Industries," he said one morning, staring at the grey sky through her cracked window. "He's planning to buy out this land. Flood it, turn it into a luxury lake resort. This entire town, gone." Anna froze, the spoon in her hand clattering against the floor. "What?" "I tried to stop him," Daniel said, voice cracking. "He found out. We fought. I left. That's how I ended up here. I didn't plan this." She stepped back like he was poison. "You mean to tell me you're part of the reason my home's about to be underwater?" "No," he whispered. "I'm the reason it might not be." The next morning he was gone. No goodbye, no trace, just silence. Days turned into weeks, the water receded, life returned to the town in fragments. And then trucks arrived. But not construction trucks. They were demolition delays, legal filings, halt orders, and a letter delivered to Anna's doorstep, on fine paper with a gold-embossed seal. Effective immediately, all land acquisitions in the Willow Creek Valley are suspended. Full restoration funding approved. Regards, Daniel Caldwell. Anna's hands trembled, but that wasn't the end. Weeks later, a cafe opened in town, newly built. Clean lines, warm lights, its name etched in wood above the door. Anna's Haven, and there behind the counter stood Daniel. No suit, just an apron, a coffee stain on his shirt, smiling. "You did all this," she whispered, stepping inside in disbelief. He looked at her like she was the miracle, not the other way around. "You gave me shelter when I didn't deserve it. You showed me what home looks like. I just made sure no one takes it from you again." Her throat tightened. "You're not who I thought you were." He reached for her hand. "Neither are you." The cafe filled. People laughed. Floodwaters became memories, and Anna realized sometimes the most unexpected stranger can change your entire life. Because the ones we rescue often rescue us right back. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment where are you watching from. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.